Assalamu alaikum and welcome to Breakfast at Dawn. Today is Friday 19th October 2007. Unfortunately, a very sad day. Last night around midnight, the procession of Ms. Benazir Bhutto experienced 2 simultaneous bomb blasts and a lot of casualties, over 130 casualties confirmed, over 350 injured. Let's hope the number stays down. Please send us your SMSs as we keep requesting you. It is important to hear what you're feeling, what you think. Your opinion counts. The number is 6622 and the format is DBD space your message space name and location. It's important for us to know what you're thinking. Throughout the night, you must have been seeing our reporter, Mr. Khurram Husain, who was present at various locations, and he was outside the Bilawal house most of the night. He has been kind enough, very tired, very scruffy, but he has come in this morning. Thank you, Khurram. You were brave last night. We saw you experiencing what was going on. We will go into what happened all of the day yesterday night, but first just tell us, what was the sentiment and emotion of people where you were last night when all this happened?
Last night I was at Bilawal house,
right,
and the palpable sentiment was shock. By the time we showed up, right when news of the blast had just reached Bilawal house, and that is when we were actually pulling up.
Right.
And there were these 2, more than 2, there was like about half a dozen PVP volunteers running in front of the street, going from car to car, banging on the hoods of the car, and telling all vehicles to clear the road. And they're screaming at the drivers, so they came to our vehicles as well. They're banging on the bonnets, telling us clear the roads. Madam Benazir's convoy has been attacked, and she's making her way here to Bilawal house. We had heard the reports by the time we arrived over there, but we had not yet received confirmation of them from our newsroom. And Faisal, you might know it's a rule in reporting that you might hear a bunch of things, but unless you see it with your own eyes and you know it for a fact, or unless your newsroom confirms it to you, you cannot really take it to be a fact until
of course.
So we were there, and we've got these people banging and saying, this is what's happened.
And so you don't have a confirmation at this time?
At this time, I did not yet have a call. So I'm on the phone with my newsroom. They're in the process of obtaining the confirmation. And the confirmation process here in Dawn is a little bit more stringent than it is in many other places.
Yes.
And sometimes that means that we end up confirming a story a little bit later than others.
Which I think is fine, Khurram. It's better than... Especially when we're talking about such
certainly
devastating news, we need to be careful with it.
Absolutely. And yesterday I found out exactly why that's the case and the benefit of doing things that way. Because, when you're out there in the field, you hear so many conflicting reports coming from all directions.
Absolutely.
That it really makes sense to hold off a little bit and say, let's hold on and let's first find out what's exactly going on before we start broadcasting it.
So when it was confirmed to you and basically the area started clearing up immediately?
That's right. A bunch of these guys went around trying to clear the vehicular traffic. A bunch of the vehicular traffic did clear, and we pulled our vehicles to the side. I got down. We made a decision right then that whether or not this is confirmed for us, or whichever way it comes in, let's get our live broadcast equipment set up ASAP.
Certainly.
So we got to work doing that, and then we saw in the meantime that the PVP volunteers had managed to get the remaining people who had stuck around, who had not fled the scene, seated in a very nice tight semicircle. And by this point in time, their attitude towards the media had changed considerably. I suppose understandably so as well, because during the procession, I was on Share Faisal, and they had been very, very media friendly, stepping forward, offering. Some of the volunteers were going around handing packets of juice, but now there was none of that. Now there was no sense.
I don't think. Do you think it was really attitude towards the media, or there was just panic?
There was a hint of panic.
But you're saying there's also a shift in attitude. A shift in attitude that suddenly this was for real. Suddenly this was something that had to be done. There was no question. They had to clear the road. And the volunteers out on the streets knew that this is serious. She's coming. She's just been attacked.
they don't want a situation where her convoy or whatever vehicle she's traveling in gets stuck outside her house.
When all this happened, you're saying the volunteers took over the area. Were there law enforcement agencies also helping them, or it was just People's Party volunteers who were controlling the area?
You know, I was asked that question repeatedly throughout the course of the evening, and I gave consistently the same answer. I walked up and down the road directly in front of the main gate of Bilawal House, that leads from Barbecue Tonight towards the sea. I did not see any law enforcement officials there. Much later, several hours after my arrival, I did see two mobiles that did a drive past and then disappeared and vanished. But the area was largely being controlled by PPP volunteers. And even later, even by the time I left, it was a good 5:30 or so in the morning by the time 5:30 by the time we actually left Bilawal House. On the main entrance, on the side entrance, the rear entrances, I did not see any.
Okay, did you see the convoy come in? Did you see him as Bhutto
actually no. The convoy, we were waiting for them outside the main gate, but they made their entrance through some other gate, the rear gate, where we did not have a live crew set up.
But who escorted her in that convoy? Were they law enforcement agency, or we were hearing something about private guards actually doing that movement?
No. Well, by the time she entered Bilawal House and she came to Bilawal House, our reports say. Now, I did not witness this arrival of hers because it was through a back road and a back gate where we were not there. But the reports that I received from eyewitnesses over there said that it was basically one black-colored vehicle with tinted glasses that came in alone and drove in. That's it.
So there were no escorts. There was no one. I mean,
at the time when she entered Bilawal House, no. But when she was on Share Faisal, obviously there were.
But of course.
But not in Bilawal House.
So maybe in that frenzy, she was actually moved by herself.
She was actually whisked out of there very, very quickly and rushed back to Bilawal House very, very quickly.
Okay. Did a lot of other People's Party leaders and her compatriots move into Bilawal House? I understand that a lot of people gathered eventually at the Bilawal House. And how did they come in? I mean,
they came in through the main gate.
And the vehicular traffic just started after that?
Well, no, actually the PPP volunteers did manage to block the road off a little bit further down.
And pushed you back?
Well, they pushed the vehicles back a little bit, but we actually managed to come forward again on foot. But they did stop normal vehicular traffic. It was diverted onto the other track. There was some traffic going into Bilawal House, and those vehicles were being allowed through. And there were all sorts of vehicles going in.
But interestingly, no law enforcing agencies.
No law enforcement agencies parked around Bilawal House or in the road in front of it,
even escorting these
or even escorting her in at that point.
That's interesting.
Some of my reports say that about 50 or so meters away, again closer to the place where Barbecue Tonight is, there was a small contingent, a small presence of rangers who had been posted as a matter of routine as part of her arrival retinue, not as some beefed up additional security services.
We are talking to Khurram Husain, who was on location at Bilawal House and around that area all night, reporting live from there. Please keep sending us your SMSs. The number is 6622 and the format is DBD space your message, space, name and location. It's very important for everyone to understand and hear what you're feeling and what you think about what has happened in the past 48 hours in Karachi especially. So Khurram, that's where things stood last night. Then we heard there was going to be a press conference, and I think the whole nation just kept waiting to hear about the press conference. And then it was called off at the last moment. You were telling me earlier.
Well, we were there when we went in through the side gate finally. And interestingly enough, while going in, we were frisked, but again by PPP volunteers and the security that was standing outside the very entrance to the house
private
on the
security.
side. Again, private security and PPP volunteers. But nevertheless, we were told that, wait, in terms of getting media access to the people inside. But it was around 5 a.m. that they came back to us and said, no, media's going to have to come back tomorrow.
And you have no concept of why the change of heart?
Well, I mean, I can take a guess. And, frankly speaking, I like to think of myself as somebody fairly hard-boiled in terms of, getting access to a story or trying to get to a story. But in this particular instance, it's understandable. considering the circumstances that the leadership had just come from, the agenda that they had on their plate at that point in time. The way it was explained to us is that these people are extremely busy at this point in time dealing with the situation. There are a lot of people in hospitals, and they are overseeing and they are making sure that those people receive adequate care. They are busy with all sorts of, their follow-up course of action in all this.
Did you see any anti-government sentiment on the street of the people you came across?
Not outside Bilawal House. I didn't.
Inside, of course, we don't know what.
Inside, we don't know. No, inside we have an idea because Nisar Khoro, for instance, came out of Bilawal House and we approached him for comment and he provided it to us.
Okay.
And then later on, Senator Lateef Khosa was coming out of Bilawal House after his consultations inside.
So there was no real anti-government sentiment. It was not like they didn't do security and they were this.
Actually, there was.
There was. Okay.
The sentiment with both of these, we have it on video. Okay. We can run it. In fact, it will be running during the course of our day's coverage today as well. But the interesting thing about what both these gentlemen said, and now mind you, Nisar Khoro, when he comes out of there, he's got blood on his on the sleeve of his shirt, he's got blood on the lapel of his collar, and there is manifestly an expression of anguish on his face.
Oh, come on! It must have been devastating.
It must have been.